a newborn maternity and children's photographer with 11 years an 11-year studio, a studio she's building over the last 11 years in Bend, Oregon. She's been a photographer though for over 30 years. She's got a great history in this business and so much talent. When I first looked at her work, I was just blown away. I mean, that's all I can say. And she's really recognized worldwide for her business, marketing, and sales expertise as well, and that's what she brings to the table, fully rounded as a photographer and businesswoman. Her first camera, anybody know this one? A Nikon N8008. Any of you have never shot a film camera before? That is a film camera. I've done ad shoots with that camera. She's a former TV news anchor and a meteorologist, and was, this is a great fact, U.S. National Ice Dance Champion. And she's here with us today to talk to us, maybe tell us the weather or dance for us, but she will follow up with some amazing maternity photos and great tips in marketing and sales, knowing newborns, 4 steps to incredible images. Ladies and gentlemen, Julia Kelleher.
Thank you. Want to dance?
We can do that.
We can.
We can do Olympics.
Right? Well, not quite Olympic level, but hey. So I've taken to traveling with a little extra luggage lately, teaching newborns. And I check it. So I put it, under the belly of the plane. And I do so for a reason. Inside is a fully articulating, life-size, weight and everything baby. So I use it as a posing aid, a lighting aid, things like that. So I always, whenever I get my suitcase back from luggage check, I get, we've been in your suitcase notice. I mean, you could just imagine the poor TSA agent putting this through the X-ray machine, right? I wonder, I'm like, I know it doesn't have a skeleton, so clearly it doesn't look like a real baby, but who carries a fully 7-pound articulating baby in their luggage? Ooh. Well, this time was a little different. When I opened up my suitcase, I didn't see the normal tag in there that I always see, so I opened up and it was sitting right here like this. And I opened it up and I went, somebody had written, "Wow," on the top of the thing. I'm like, wow, what does that mean? Does that mean, wow, funny? Does that mean, wow, weird? Yeah, I feel sorry for the TSA agent. Some lady's carrying out around a random bionic baby bomb. Right? Well, I know she looks like a dead baby in a suitcase, but what I really want to talk to you about is how children are very fragile, okay? I'd like to introduce you to someone. This is Libby. She was 5 days old when I photographed her, okay? And she died on me on the beanbag. Yep. She stopped breathing, and she turned blue. My assistant and I were sitting there on the beanbag looking at her, and my assistant said it as I thought it. She goes, "Julia, she doesn't look right. That's not the right color." You have never seen me pick up a child so fast and start whacking her on the back, anything I could do. Sudden infant death syndrome was happening right in front of me as I was photographing a 5-day-old child. Little Libby spent 2 nights in the NICU that night. Turns out she has a lot of health problems, but today she's an adorable 2-year-old. And if it weren't for my assistant's quick thinking and saying something, her mom got one of those angel care monitors, those little, overnight alarm goes off if the kid stops breathing kind of thing. She did it 4 additional times in the first year of life. So had we not said something to her, there's a good chance that Libby wouldn't be with us here today. And while I use something like this as a posing aid or a teaching tool or something like that, there is no substitute for being safe when handling newborns. Really is no substitute. And that means using your hands-on experience to work with them and finding someone who will help you do that. So I wouldn't be a good teacher if I didn't automatically give you a story like this and say, focus your efforts first on safety. There's organizations like the Accredited Professionals Newborn Photographers International, run by a wonderful woman named Stephanie Robin, who is a nurse, a former nurse, and also a photographer. And she has a safety training class on her website. So before you realm into this world of newborn, it is a scary thing. And part of me wants to make you laugh with a TSA agent, and part of me also wants to warn you and say, do this with caution. You're holding someone's miracle in your hands. So it's important to be aware of that, be cognizant of it, and understand how fragile it can be. So I'm in Bend, Oregon. I photograph kids and newborns. I'm kind of a specialist in business. That's what I do. I'm very savvy at teaching marketing and business systems. A lot of my students have gone on to build multi-six-figure businesses, which is really rewarding. You can find me at these locations here. And what I want to talk to you about today is how to create newborn images really in 4 simple steps. If you master these 4 areas, you will get consistently beautiful imagery every time, okay? So you're in the right place with me today if perhaps you're a wedding photographer and you're getting requests. You know, you shot the wedding and now, oh, they're in love. Oh, what happens? Yep, baby, okay? So maybe you need to open up this new product line. You've had trouble getting your babies to look, curled. They just don't curl unless you make them, right? That's challenging. You want to shoot newborns, but you're not sure where to start or what's involved. Okay, perhaps the gear you're using to photograph newborns just isn't giving you the right results that you want, okay? Newborns won't sleep. Raise your hand. Yeah, they won't sleep. You're like, how the heck do I? You know that book, To Sleep? Yeah. Yeah, they can bleep that out later. I didn't want to say it. But there's a book actually for parents that says to sleep. So it's frustrating because your sessions can take a long time, 2 hours or more, and you're sitting here going, well, I want this baby sleep. But really what it comes down to is if you can master newborn imagery, you have an emotional draw to your client, and those images are incredibly powerful. They sell, and it's so profitable. I have some students who are averaging $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000 per newborn sale because it's so emotional. We tap into that feeling of what it means to be a parent for the first time. That feeling. It's not about the late nights and the breastfeeding and all the drama associated with getting no sleep and all the in-laws who want to come over and give you a hard time about what you named your baby. That's the drama. What we're doing is capturing that feeling because you're so overwhelmed as having a child. How many of you actually have a baby? Have a child? Yeah, can you go back to that era? Go back to those days of when, oh yeah, those first 6 weeks are like, woohoo, deer in the headlights. Okay? So the imagery we create allows our clients to go back to what it means to be in love with your child for the very first time. Because those of you who have had a child know there is no other love like it. It is so different. So what you're going to learn with me today in the next half hour is quite simple. The go-to methods for getting newborns to sleep. Okay? We're going to talk about that. Everybody thinks it's a magic formula. You're a baby whisperer. What do you whisper to them? Not quite that way. The 4 key components to remember that will help you nail your shots every single time. All right? The right gear that contributes to the artistry and design of your images. And also, why niching into a more higher specialization, instead of being a generalist in what you do, actually brings in more clients. The minute I took seniors and headshots and all these other things off my site and just focused on babies, I actually increased my bookings. Not only in babies, but also in kids, in families, and we'll talk about why that is, okay? So, first, the sleepy baby. How do you get these things to go to sleep? They have no rationalization skills. There's no reasoning with them. There's no talking them through it. Yeah, that never happens with a child, but anyway. The point is to replicate the womb. Create a sense of security for the baby. You just got to remember, this kid just spent 9 months in a womb, right? That's their safe place. So if you replicate that, you create this sense of warmth and security for the child, and they just start to drift off to sleep. there's really no secret to it. However, trying to replicate that in a cavernous, large, cold studio is enough to make you want to pull your hair out, steak knife to the eye, right? Yeah. Okay. So what I want to introduce you to is the 5 S's. These were actually developed and, I guess, defined by a pediatrician named Dr. Harvey Karp. You can look him up. He wrote a book called The Happiest Baby on the Block. It's almost required reading if you're pregnant, okay? And it talks about how to work through a colicky baby. And the first is side lying. So almost all babies, she does have articulating limbs. Baby killer, right? Side lying, all babies love to be either on their belly, and I know, the pediatricians, like National Children's Pediatrician, whatever it is, they say don't let your baby sleep on their stomach, right, because of SIDS. However, babies love this position. So you put them on their sides. She's supposed to articulate. There we go. I haven't named her yet. So you wrap a baby and put them on their side like this, and they immediately begin to relax, okay? You will literally notice it. So I will often pose dad, because dads are usually the ones who are the most uncomfortable holding the baby. I will usually put the baby in his arms, on her side, okay? Then the next thing you want to do is make a very loud shush sound. What I do is I use an iPhone app. It's called the White Noise app, and it basically makes a very loud shh. And we're talking loud. Baby's hearing actually isn't fully developed for several weeks after they're born, so they're almost slightly deaf when they come out of the womb, and their legs fall off. So by using some kind of sound, you're replicating the blood flow circulation in mama's body, because that's what they did here for 9 months, okay? So when you start to shh a baby or use some kind of app or something like that that helps walk you through that, you're basically replicating the sounds that a baby heard. Sucking. Pacifier is your best friend. I love pacifiers. Sometimes I want to suck one myself. They're so soothing, right? No, I'm kidding. But sometimes moms won't want you to use a pacifier. So what you want to do is just, obviously with very clean hands, the little pinky works great. You just stick it in their mouth. They'll start sucking on it, and it replicates, mama. And that sucking reflex is incredibly calming to a baby, okay? Then you want to swing a baby, okay? Just wait. My limbless child here. There's lots of different ways to swing, okay? When I say we use swing as, just to kind of keep the 5 S's, but I really liken it to jiggling like Jell-O. So you jiggle a baby, okay? I do the island walk. When my kid was young, I walked around my kitchen island at 2 a.m. around and around and around. It's that motion of being in mama's belly, okay? So swinging can mean the mom sway. How many of you know the mom sway? Yeah, the mom sway, right? Okay. Then there's the elevator pitch. That works good too, okay? My point is to get the baby in motion, a soft motion. When I say Jell-O, you know how your mom used to make you Jell-O when you were a kid? Don't break the Jell-O. Just jiggle enough to kind of lull to sleep. Setting a kid on top of a dryer works really well too. Swaddling, warmth, replicating the womb and making them constricted so they can't move their arms and limbs, okay? And that truly is one of the secrets, is wrapping. If you are ever in doubt, wrap. Wrapping is a wrapped baby is a happy baby. And I constantly tell my students, if you can master wrapping, you will be an incredible newborn photographer. Because obviously we all want our wraps to look pretty, and most people wrap too loosely. They just kind of wrap the baby. Wrap the baby. Make sure they can't move. There's a lot of Houdinis out there. These little kids can break out of these things, and you got to make sure they're nice and tight, okay? So wrapping is a skill in itself. There's lots of different fun ways to do it, but it really does help keep baby replicated in the womb. And trust me, the minute you start wrapping a baby, they just get all warm and cozy, and they start to drift off. We do our first few poses wrapped, then you can start to unwrap and get the images where the baby is actually sleeping. So let's talk about the 4 elements of successful images, okay? This is where if you nail these things, you will get good images almost every time, okay? Camera angle. What does camera angle mean? What does that mean? Think about how your camera is to the child. The angle of your camera in relationship to the face, okay? So I always call a good camera angle for newborns as being the orientation of your lens plane to the baby's head or face. That lens plane should be flat on the face. We'll get little stand-in baby to help me. But when I'm photographing a baby, my lens plane is right here. I don't want to shoot up her nose. I kind of want to shoot slightly down, as you can see in this image here. But my plane of my lens, the flat part of my lens, is pretty much in line with her nose at all times. Okay? Obviously, there's a few artistic shots that are a little different than that. But if you can nail that camera angle, you will start to get that imagery you see out there, okay? Because baby's face is the prior focus of the image. That's what you should be really focusing your attention on, because that's the child's face, okay? They don't smile at you. Well, sometimes they do, but they don't have expression. I mean, like Tamara Lackey, these kids happy, loving, jumping around, having a good time. Clearly, a newborn's not going to do that. Newborn imagery is about the design and composition of the image with a sweet little package in the middle of it, okay? The second thing is your posing angle. What do you think your posing angle means? Your posing angle is how your subject is oriented to him or herself. Again, when you have a baby on a beanbag, if they're just straight across and you're shooting down the face, think about your f-stop. Think about your focal plane and where that plane of focus is. If the baby is in line with that plane of focus, everything's going to be in focus, and you won't have that beautiful bouquet that goes in the background. So when you switch your posing angle to be one of more of a diagonal, where if this beautiful young lady down here was my camera, the closest thing to her is the face. So the rest of the body goes out of focus, okay? So by adjusting the body pose of the baby, then all of a sudden you're creating an image that has more interest towards the face. Does that make sense? So, I know, obviously, a half-hour program, if I could demonstrate this for you, but I figured having a 5-day-old and, WPPI it is kind of germ fest around here all the time. Everybody goes home sick, right? Not the greatest idea in the world. Lighting angle, okay? Your lighting angle is how the light is positioned to focus on baby's features. Light in front, flat, blah, boring, right? We don't want to do that. Light on the side to skim across the features, as in this image you see behind me. There's a shadow right here by her nose, a shadow along the side of her face. It's modeling the face, okay? So many newborn photographers bring that light out too far in front, and they end up with a flatly lit image. So if you're nailing camera angle, posing angle, lighting angle, can you see where these three trifecta is beginning to come together to create beautiful imagery? Well, then there's your gear. What are you using? In my studio, I use ProPhoto mono lights, okay, strobes. I use a 7-foot Octabank for families and a 5-foot Octabank with white interior umbrellas to light my cyc wall. On the beanbag, I'm simply using a ProPhoto B1 with a 5-foot Octabank. That's and a reflector. It's a one light, simple, not a very complicated setup, okay? So the other factor that it comes into creating good imagery is your lens choice. You can have the best lighting, the best posing, the best camera angle in the world, but if you're not using the right tools and gear to create that image, it's not going to come together the way you want to. So lens choice is critical. It affects the overall look of the image. Whether it be with sibling images, family images, or whatever, it's going to create a look to the shot. I use a Nikon D5. I just graduated to it. It's a little dirty. You say, don't buy my camera in a used camera gear if I ever promote it, because, yeah, it's thrashed. But it's well used, loved, right? See the crack in my 50? Owned that thing for at least 6 years, but it's still a workhorse, okay? The Nikon D5, yes, I did just upgrade to it, but it really helps, not so much with the newborns, but with the kids. Those fast-moving kids, man, the speed and focus on that thing is amazing, and it allows me to keep up with them and not miss anything. For family images, I'm using an 85-1.4 or a 105-1.4, the newer portrait lens that has come out from Nikon. These are incredible for families because they give me that compression. When I have a family that's in a focal plane and They are all together. The lens compresses it to make them look all flat, which gives me a beautiful portrait. And then by shooting at f8, f11, something like that, I'm going to get everybody in focus on my seamless wall. And that image was actually shot on my seamless wall. By lighting the wall in a certain way, I can change the color of it. It's white when you look at it, but if I don't light it, it turns gray, okay? All has to do with how much light I'm putting on that background, how far away my subjects are from that background, and that helps me get multiple different looks on a 30-foot cyc wall, a cove wall, okay? So for actual baby alone imagery, I use a 50 millimeter 1.4G, okay? The bokeh. I've been told it's bokeh. I've been calling it bokeh for years. You learn something new every day. It creates that gorgeous out-of-focus backgrounds and allows me to stay close to baby at the same time. Now, I do always work with an assistant. I'm paranoid to leave that baby on the beanbag by himself. Because you know how babies herky-jerk? Have you seen that's like one of the pluses of being a newborn photographer. Babies like jerk all the time and they jerk themselves awake. One little jerk and a baby can roll off a beanbag. I had a student call me once and go, my baby rolled off the beanbag, what do I do? And the first thing I asked her, you have liability insurance, don't you? Thank goodness she did. But using a 50 millimeter allows me to get close in and create those gorgeous out-of-focus backgrounds that we all love so much. And then finally, the macro, the 10528 macro that I use has amazing bokeh and it's tack sharp. By focusing on those highlights, I use manual focus. I'll get in and kind of go in and out and snap to get my shot. I don't use autofocus just because I like the control of manual focus when I'm doing macros. Hold your breath. Okay, it's a lot of breathing, but it works. But when you have these 4 elements, lens choice, good set design, color, texture, layers, your camera angle, your posing angle, your lighting angle, in the sales room, all of a sudden, it's a piece of cake. You create a varied gallery of imagery that all coordinates together and creates a specific look to your work. From sibling images to family to baby alone, when you coordinate that and use the tools you have appropriately to do that and create different looks, there's 13 different poses in this gallery. This is a classic client gallery for me, okay? And they can't resist. Plus, on top of that, all the images work together in a wall portrait, a wall series, or in an album. They coordinate. I don't use a ton of crazy colors. I'll use like a simple green and cream and brown like I did in this session, and that's it for the entire session. Now all of a sudden, everything's coordinated, and the client can't help but want to put them all on the wall together. So it really helps you define the sale and make higher sales simply by shooting it correctly. So this is a big question everybody asks me. I love newborns, but I don't think I can do only newborns. Why not? Oh, that won't happen in my market. Really? I live in a town of 88,000 people. I decided to niche in newborn photography. When you do that, I want you to think about what that does in the client's mindset. Flip the switch. Put yourself in their shoes. Think of a different analogy. The BMW auto mechanic. I have a Mercedes-Benz. It's a German car. He must know German cars. I'll go to him too. Okay? If he's a generalist, A's auto mechanic, you don't know if he can handle your Mercedes, right? But the guy who does the BMWs down the street, he knows German cars, right? So you're more likely to want to take your German Mercedes off to the BMW dealer because you know he's going to know your vehicle, especially if there's no Mercedes mechanic in town, right? It's the same thing with your clients. When you specialize in a niche, you're hitting the buying triggers of that client's mindset. What does that mean? There are a few things that your client will trigger them to want to buy something. Authority. Are you an expert in your market? Okay? The doctor jacket. Somebody's got a doctor jacket and you immediately think they know how to cure you, right? You may have no idea, but they have that authority. Scarcity. Things that aren't readily available. People want. They want to buy that stuff, right? Social proof. Do you have a lot of reviews on Facebook or Google? Are you getting referrals from your clients? That kind of mentality, of group mentality of, yes, this is an amazing product, you should buy it. That's why Amazon has 1,500 reviews for each product, because those reviews stand as social proof to buy the product, okay? Reciprocity, when you give something to someone, when someone gives you a gift, you're like, oh, I gotta give you something back, right? Women especially have this mentality, and women are our target clients. Do they genuinely like you and your brand? And is there a commitment or a consistency to what they do? If clients say they want to do something and they make that commitment verbally, the chances of them going back on that are very low. And I know everybody asks me this. Why would I market to fewer people? The answer lies in your ideal client. To hit that woman and know her so deeply and target your marketing language to her mindset and what she wants and what her pain points are, those psychological triggers, you win because you will attract her and others like her. And it's less work to market to just one person, right? Now, all of a sudden, your business begins to build its brand and hit someone who it's meant to hit, its soulmate, right? Your soulmate is the one you're meant to be with, and there is a soulmate client for every business. So if you try to be everyone's photographer, you end up being no one's first choice. You devalue your brand and dilute your authority in your market, right? So by simply niching and specializing in something that you're passionate about, that you love, now all of a sudden you're going to attract the people who are passionate about it too. Marketing becomes easier, and the client you're actually bringing in the door is the one that's meant for you and the one you want to clone. Clone those $5,000 clients, right? They're amazing. If you do it correctly, niche and brand correctly, you will see that happen in your business. So, wrapping it all up, photographing newborns is a lucrative art. We average about $1,500 to $2,000 per sale in the newborn section of my studio. We are in a tiny town. I have about 100 babies being born a month at my hospital, and I shoot about 10 to 15% of those, okay? So first and foremost, safety. You must be safe. That should be your top priority when it comes to babies. When in doubt, can't get the baby to sleep, wrap them up. I do it all the time. You avoid a lot of blowouts that way, not the hair dryer kind, right? Remember those 4 elements of a great image: camera angle, lighting angle, posing angle, lens choice, okay? This creates a varied gallery, but it's all coordinated to sell a product, especially when you use colors and tones and backgrounds and props that all coordinate together. When I'm designing a session, I pile it all onto the ground and go, does it all look good together? And if it does, I've got a beautiful session I'm about to shoot. When you do that, you are setting yourself up for a product sale that's a lot higher than it would have been with images that are onesie-twosie and don't actually work together. Niching makes you an authority. Authority makes them buy. You're the expert in your market, right? So ultimately, guys, what this comes down to is, are you passionate about babies? Babies don't smile at you. They don't laugh. They don't listen to directions. They are blobs, right? They just sit there. But you can create and design gorgeous imagery that hits at the heart of your clients, because this is such an emotional and unique time for them. Most parents are over. Have you seen the deer in the headlights look? You know, when they look at you, they come walking in the door and they're like, here's my baby. Because they're so overwhelmed, especially first-time parents, okay? When you bring them back to an incredible gallery where they all of a sudden get to experience the love they have of their child without that overwhelm, you got them right in the heart. And when you follow your passion and you show that in your work, you show that in what you do, even when you carry a random bionic baby bomb in your suitcase, you are showing your passion and your love, and that's truly what's at the heart of the image. So thank you, Nikon, very much. You can join our Facebook groups, Julia Kelleher. If you have any questions, I'll stick around.
Ladies and gentlemen, Julia Kelleher. We have one more presenter coming up in the Nikon Theater stage today, Ms. Dixie Dixon out of Fort Worth, Texas, in just a few minutes to close out the day.